Hello and welcome to Sacred Psychology, the podcast for misfits and mystics. Here, neuroscience and spirituality go hand in hand. Join me, Tamara Powell, on a no-holds-barred adventure outside the box, because that's where all the truly great shit happens anyway. Welcome back to Sacred Psychology. I'm your host, Tamara Powell. Today, I'm bringing you a conversation all about crystals. And no, it's not what you think. We are definitely going beyond what you have seen on the interwebs into the psycho-spiritual, very practical way of using crystals in your everyday life. And to do so, I partnered up with Ms. Tina Conroy. Tina is an intuitive energy healer and medium. She hosts the Intuitive Woman podcast, which is a weekly podcast that explores intuition. As if that weren't enough, y'all, she is also a yoga instructor, Reiki master teacher, and spiritual coach at the Center for Wellness and Integrative Medicine at Northwell Health. And besides all that, she is a hell of a lot of fun to talk to. So without further ado, I bring you the one, the only, the ever incomparable Tina Conroy. Hey, Tina.
Hey, Tamara. How are you?
I'm really well tonight. I am excited about this.
I am so psyched to chat with you.
I was totally fangirling on your website and your podcast before this, so I am uber stoked to dive into something that I get asked about all the time because I really take a holistic approach as a counselor and coach, crystals, and yet there's not a lot of great, resources out there for people that explain it in a way that makes sense. And when I heard your episode on your podcast, I was like, this is the chick to talk to.
Oh, I love it. It's actually one of my favorite things to talk about. I talk about a lot of different tools, but these are constantly something I want to keep learning about.
Which is really cool because you are, I think you've got a really awesome balance to you. And I think that's my favorite thing, right? Like my podcast being about both neuroscience and spirituality. And when I look at what you do, I mean, you're a yoga instructor, you're a fellow Reiki master teacher, you've got the spiritual coaching down because you've got these psychic gifts, you're a medium. It's just badass.
Oh my God. Yeah. Don't I sound great?
You sound great.
No, I love it. And you know what? The other part that I get and I have to say this is because I get a lot of people that say this to me. I tend to be a really earthy person. So I'm a Capricorn. That's my horoscope, right? And
that's my moon.
Oh, there you go. So as a Capricorn, I'm pretty earthy. And I, in the Ayurveda terms, right, you have I'm sure you know the Vata, Pitta, the Kapha. So I think let's see, let me not mess this up. I want to say I'm Pitta Kapha or Kapha Pitta. But anyway, I'm not Vata, right? So I'm not air.
Yeah. I'm totally all fiery Pitta or Pitta.
Oh, yeah. That's probably why we get along so well. And when I meet someone that's full Vata, I freak out. Because Vata people are like that airy-fairy. They're living up in their head. They're like, yeah, well, I'm not sure. And maybe I'll do that. They can't appointment. They don't leave, they're always late for something. And I'm sort of like, come down to earth, man.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we are total soul sisters then, which I think is why I'm like, yes, of all people to talk to me about crystals, maybe I'll trust this one.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I feel like people can resonate with me because I'm pretty normal with a little woohoo,
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that in a person. Hey. And I think that really I'm going to put your website in the show notes. It really comes forth in the offerings that you have in your coursework and even in the way that you teach Reiki. I just love the balanced approach.
Thank you. I really think that, that's the approach that's who I am. And when I started to really resonate with that, it's taken a while. We come to ourselves and who are we and how do we want to project out to the world? It was like, you know what, this is who I am. And this is how, I'm not, it's nothing against certain, other beliefs. Like, I'm not vegan right now and I'm not vegetarian. Now I've kind of gone back and forth, but still cool. And, I'm a real person. And so I think that makes myself and others a little bit more accessible to say, oh, anybody can open up to this work.
Exactly. So I love that you're so grounded, but then like your big calling in life is helping women develop their intuition and connect with their own inner guidance, right? And to create that passionate spiritual life.
Yep, that is definitely my passion. I see so many women and they're at a crossroads. I would say that the majority of women I see, I mean, they're all ages, but I would say they're in a crossroads or a transition, either coming from an outside influence or internally, where they're finally saying something's missing. And they're already spiritually minded, but they've lost that part of themselves. Maybe they are in the middle of a divorce, or maybe they're in a relationship or a work change, or the kids are going off to college or getting older. And they start to ask these questions. And that's when it's that seeking and that I want to connect to my spirit. And that moment, that's where we can really work on their own intuition and tapping into that.
You know what I love about that most is that you're really giving women permission to stay authentic with it. Like even in just the Ayurvedic terms, like we were just describing, no matter what personality you have, no matter what spiritual background you have, the tools that you're giving them to be able to awaken to her own intuition. My God, is there a greater gift on the planet? Like, that's amazing.
Yeah. And I think that's it. I think that, if we're always seeking from the outside, and, even though I do readings as a living and intuitive guidance readings as a living, I always say to my clients, that this is just a little navigational tool for you to connect to yourself and then to go, oh, that's right. That's what I want. Or I was thinking that, and I'm going to navigate this way or that way. And you know what? A lot of the things are validated in the reading because it's empowering them to listen to their intuition. It's empowering them to listen to their spirit. And that's what it's all about. If you just keep going to someone and saying, tell me what to do, I don't even mean just a psychic, just anyone.
Totally.
And who are you listening to? Right? So.
No, that cannot be overstated. I'm like over here cheering. Yes, because especially in my field and, your field when you're doing readings and coaching and stuff, we don't want to breed codependence. And so my goal as a counselor, whether I'm doing counseling, coaching, energy healing, whatever, is to show you, foster your own empowerment. So while we always, could use a little tune up in sacred space with someone else, right? Yoga teachers need yoga teachers and energy healers can always use a little extra space with someone else. It's still like I can't be with you every single day. And so how awesome when you work with someone who can train you and teach you to do it on the daily. And then when you want a little boost, pop back on in.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more.
So before we get into the topic that I really want to dive into, crystals, I do have a quick rabbit trail I want to go down because after reading your bio, knowing that like myself, you woke up to your psychic gifts pretty early on, it sounds like.
I did. I don't think I knew they were psychic gifts.
Yes, that's what I was hoping you were going to say.
Yeah, and that's the thing, it's always this, I was a scaredy cat as a kid. I'm a scaredy cat as an adult. I couldn't sleep in the dark. I knew that something was going on. I had no idea what it was. Yeah, I was brought up Catholic, so of course I thought it was the devil in the Exorcist movie.
Yep.
Oh my God, that movie killed me.
Yeah.
And so whatever that presence was, looking back now, I don't think it was necessarily bad or evil. I really don't.
Right.
I didn't know what it was, and nobody knew what to tell me. It was just go back to bed and you'll be fine. And I went through a lot of periods in my life that it was mostly, I want to say, is like that tween time. Like it happened when I was younger, but I don't think I really realized it. I just was open to it. But then it became scary, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Do you think it was scary because of your upbringing? I was brought up evangelical Christian, so very same messages that were being told. And so unless it was angels, which I often saw, if it was anything other than that, I didn't have a box for it. And so that's where often for me, the fear came in of what is this?
Yeah, exactly. I always knew it was good or evil. There was nothing in between. It was this must be bad and this must be evil. And then this must be the devil. And I guess no one really told me that. And it's so interesting because we weren't highly, highly religious. Okay, so I went to Catholic school majority of my life, grade school and high school. But we would do the typical, we weren't the typical church Sunday goer every single Sunday, but we go and then we wouldn't go. And then we go, we wouldn't go. And I kind of did the same thing with my kids, I have to say.
Sure.
I just fell into that same thing. My kids went to grammar parochial school and public high school. And then it's oh my gosh. But that being said, no one ever told me anything. No one ever said it was bad or evil. It just was part of my consciousness because of my upbringing.
Yeah. So that took you through, middle school age. When did you finally embrace it?
It's really funny. So I shut it down, like I think most of us do. And then I did like the teenage stupid stuff. And of course, got into lots of trouble. And, because you're just ignoring every sign in the book and trying to be like everybody else because you want to fit in. And it wasn't, the biggest thing I had were dreams. And I say that I think in the bio, it's like these dreams were constant. Dreams for me are so real. Like I can remember a dream. I actually have this dream that happens, repetitive dream, since I'm like 10 or 11. It's called my house dream. I'm always in the same house. There's always this old woman in the basement. But the thing is that my dreams, I can smell in my dreams.
Yeah.
I can see vividly. It's so real that I went through a period, probably teenage years, that there were times that I really thought something happened, but it didn't. I had to actually say something like, Mom, did, she's like, no. She goes, no, that didn't happen. Like, oh, okay, that didn't happen. Oh, okay. And then I would realize over time that was my dream because it was so real.
So it sounds like they're like precognitive dreams where you have full access to all of your clear gifts.
They were. And sometimes it was scary because some of the things I would dream were not such good dreams and they would happen. And other times I think they're all signs to something, but I think now knowing more is that the dream could have people in it or moments in it, but it won't exactly play out exactly how the dream was. But I now am able to decipher the feeling or, I get a hit or an impression from it, but it's not like that exact dream is exactly going to happen.
Yeah, so I'm kind of glad that we're following this rabbit trail for a second because a lot of the women that I work with that have had these experiences, understandably so, get really freaked out and feel this huge sense of overwhelm and pressure to do something with those dreams. What is the answer that you ended up coming up with for yourself? What do we do when we have precognition or prophetic dreams?
So what I've done, and this is sort of just my opinion, but it's worked for me, is that I do have a dream journal or a notebook by my bed. And for me, the thing about it is, how did I feel in the dream? So if I remember the dream, and I usually do, I don't always, I'll write down a few notes or maybe just bullet points. But it's more the feeling of the dream.
Yes.
Than the dream. Does that make sense?
We're the same person. I swear to God.
Yeah, right? Because let's say, now here's another caveat though. If there is a deceased loved one in the dream, I always say that's a dream visitation, and I know it's a dream visitation. It doesn't mean what happens in the dream has anything to necessarily do with it, but it's like, oh, that person wanted to visit me, and coming to Earth is really hard for them, so they visited me in my dream.
Yep. That makes total sense and really takes the pressure off.
Yeah, and I think that what I try, since that's how I decipher it, is the feeling. So I always say, if you had a dream, remember the feeling in the dream, not so much the circumstances or what actually happened, but how did you feel? Did you feel happy and exuberant and joyful and alive? Or were you scared or nervous or tensed or worried? Those are the things that you want to kind of use those impressions and see how is that going to play out in the next couple of days? Or maybe there's a way for you to say, oh, this dream's giving me a little heads up. Like, not a bad thing. I would say, I always like to say things aren't good or bad, but it's like, maybe it's a little challenge. Maybe you had a dream that you were uncomfortable. So perhaps you're going to be facing a challenge. Okay, well, now I kind of know that. And I'm just going to maybe navigate a different way. It's sort of like, I always say, like, you're dating some boy and, someone says, he's not really right for you and you don't have a good feeling. It doesn't mean he's a horrible person. He's just not right for you now. So it's just a challenge at the moment. It's like, wouldn't you rather know that than go through like all these years and realize? So like, it's a little heads up.
I'm starting to think you were a psychologist in a previous life.
It's so funny because I had this you must be reading my mind. Today I had a client that I normally see for Reiki. And before we started the session, she's like, I really need to talk to you. And we just were chatting and I'm doing this whole mindset thing. And she's like, are you a psychologist? I'm like, no, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a therapist. And in my head, I'm going, I did go to college for social work, but I never got that degree. And the universe is going, we're going to make good use of you.
Yeah. Totally, because that is one of my favorite ways of working with dreams in just traditional therapy anyway, is looking at it from even whether it's the Gestalt view or the Jungian view, the whole emphasis is on what are you doing in the dream? How do you feel in the dream? Can you tap into what's empowering for you based on your feelings? So regardless of method that we're going, it's all about you, not necessarily what are you going to do with this? Which is where people always want to jump to. And I'm like, no, we've got the cart before the horse here.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. It's not the story. It's not exactly what happened exactly going to happen, but it's exactly how you just explained it is exactly how it feels for me.
And thank God, right? Because some dreams are just off the wall, or maybe you had some bad pizza. And if we really had to go with,
I know.
It's going to play out like that, and I better freaking do something about it, we'd all be screwed. So
that's true. That is true.
That brings me to then crystals. Let's talk about crystals. Super excited about this. You had, on your podcast, the episode that I heard, you were walking us through which chakras apply with which crystals, which was kind of a great primer, like a great place to start. How did you even get into working with crystals?
I feel like it just happened. It was just the next step. It sort of evolved. I think from working with energy work and working with Reiki, then it evolved to crystal work and, other tools, and working with pendulum, which is another discussion, but very similar.
Mm-hmm. I love my pendulum.
Yeah, I love it. And the crystals I was so attracted to them. I was so attracted to them on so many levels. I was attracted to them just how beautiful they are and how they come from the earth. And it just, to this day, when I walk into any crystal or gem store, my whole body kind of vibrates. It's sort of like, how the heck do these things come from the earth? Like, I'm still in this awe period of, they literally come out of the earth like that. Like, I know they're formed and they had to have a little bit of that, but it's still like this amazing gift and this magic. It's almost like magic. I know it's not magic, but it really feels so amazing. It's like a nature. It's a natural nature gift. And so I evolved with just wanting to learn more. And, through my teachings and then my teacher using crystals and light therapy and different, I just can't learn enough. And I'll tell you, there's just so much to learn. It's like it never ends, which I love because I'm a constant student.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do think there is some magic in it. There's like alchemy when we walk into a store like that. And the way that it makes us feel, to me, is the magic. So a lot of people shit on like the placebo effect. And I'm like, you got that so wrong, because the placebo effect is actually freaking amazing and proving scientifically that our minds and our bodies have an effect on what we're doing, right? So if my brain says, this is awesome and I'm going to feel good, and then I'm able to have a spontaneous remission of a tumor or cancer or depression, what the fuck ever, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Well, it's the mind-body connection. I was just at a conference actually 2 days ago, and it was held by a hospital, and they were talking about the mind-body connection. And, when you can be positive and you can, and yes, do all the right things and have the right actions, it makes such a difference. And the placebo effect, it's just exactly what you said, because it works.
Right. So even if for all of the non-believers we're like, what, crystals? We pulled this thing from the ground and it's going to help me. I'm speaking directly to you right now. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how do you look at crystals? What are they? Why are they even good for us holistically?
Well, there's a lot of, we can go like the whole geological gem theory, or I could go a little bit of the woohoo theory. And I tend to do a little bit more of the metaphysical theory. So this is a little bit of that. First of all, they go back, 75,000 years. They've been around forever. They're in the earth. They're from the earth. So that there is no dispute over. And they amplify, what they say is like, if you just think of it simply like this, and all the scientists maybe can agree to this, even if you don't think any crystals will help you, benefit you, crystals amplify energy, and that's why they're in watches and computers and things like that. So, your quartz watch and all that, that's part of crystals. Like it is what it is. So they amplify energy. They have a way to amplify energy. Now, a lot of metaphysical teachers and spiritual teachers they'll say things like, oh, crystals are full of life force. And I don't think that's that woohoo, because if you think of life force energy, right? Yeah. Like think of a tree. A tree has life force energy. Plants have life force energy. People have life force energy. Animals. So crystals, they come from the earth. They have life force energy. And so because they have these vibrations and energy, people have found over many, many, many trillion years that they benefit human beings in many different ways. So there's many benefits, there's many properties, and many ways to use them. Now, I get the same question you do. Well, if I hold this crystal, what's going to happen? And it's like, I don't believe, and if it's sort of like the Reiki thing, like, well, I don't believe in Reiki, will it work? Right? I mean, how many times do you hear that? Right?
At least weekly. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I always say, be open. If you're open, explore. These things have been around for a very long time, and explore what feels good. And maybe it's not your cup of tea, but there is evidence that backs it on different stones and crystals that hold vibration and energy that can be used for many different ailments and, many things.
Sure as hell can't hurt, and they're really pretty to look at. So if anything, it makes a nice paperweight on your desk. So
exactly.
You got a salt lamp, why not put an amethyst on your desk?
Oh my God, I love my salt lamp.
Right? So I love that you started the conversation with life force energy. So the way that I often describe it to people, you've been in traditional therapy, is we all have a bioenergy field. What the woo folks have been calling an aura forever. What Chinese folks call qi, Japanese folks call ki, hence Reiki. We can feel that, and we can measure it with, biofeedback machines that are available at your local hospital, right? So it just stands to reason that if all matter is energy, that the crystals that are coming out of the earth also have it. I just love that you started there.
Yeah. And you know what? I love that you said that too, because the term biomimicry, biomimicry is what works in nature. You're pretty much saying this. So crystals are part of that. So it's that mimicking nature, which is that biomimicry, and that's the effect of crystals.
I love it.
Yeah, right?
Drop the mic on that one. So talk to me about some of the ways that you use them with clients, and then we can move into what are some common great ones that, people can start with.
Now, before we go there, I do have to say one thing, and I know we're taping, but do you know today is a new moon, which is very
did, and a solar eclipse, and it's in Aquarius. Thank you.
I know. So I was like, oh my gosh, like
it's perfect timing.
It's perfect timing. And so I know that this isn't necessarily live, but you guys, oh my God, new moons and full moons. This is the time to get your crystal beings out there, get them in the moon.
Bathe them.
Yeah, right. So anyway, I need.
No, thank you for saying that. I do that on multiple episodes. Absolutely. I'll say, this is being taped right now, currently on a full moon, and this is why this is perfect. So thank you for adding that.
There's nothing that is coincidental, right?
Hello, synchronicity.
Perfect. All right. So going back to your question, tell me that again.
Let's start with some of the ways that you use them in your work, and then let's give them some practical ones that they can start with, some common ones.
So how I use them in my work with clients is I will use them there's many ways. In a Reiki session, if they are working on a particular chakra, they would like that chakra balanced or, different chakras rebalanced, and we kind of do that. I will do what I call laying on of stones. And so they're crystals in stone form. And then I will figuring out what chakra it is. And that's a little bit of maybe deciphering, having a conversation, or just I do a aura check on the body. I will place the crystal on the appropriate body part appropriately for the chakra. And that crystal will amplify and help the session and help the person to have rebalancing. So sometimes I'll do a whole chakra balancing where the person will lay on their back, and I will take each appropriate crystal and place it from the back of their head down to the bottom of their feet. And we use the main 7 chakras. There are more.
Right.
It's literally called laying on of stones. And then I'll do a whole session, and then I'll take the crystals off. So it's almost like an added boost or a bonus. And the crystals are able to help the energy. Again, we go back to kind of like biomimicry and how it helps it amplify it.
Yeah, and so for beginners who have no flippant idea about chakras, really what you're describing is like, hey, where am I feeling stuck? Where do I feel pain or tension? Even just paying attention to symptomology. You don't have to have, a degree or certification in this to go, my stomach's kind of not feeling so good right now. Let me look up a great, crystal to, work on liver functioning.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of it's exactly like that.
Mm-hmm.
What's been going on the last 24 hours? What brings you in today? And they might say, oh, I have tightness in my stomach, or my chest is feeling tight, or I had a fight with my spouse or my partner, or I have a headache. It could be physical stuff. It could be emotional stuff. I just had a breakup and my heart feels heavy and I feel like heartache. That would be heart chakra, right in the heart.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be so. You don't have to kind of investigate more than that. It's a feeling, and it's also, a physical feeling and also an emotional feeling. So from that, even if they don't really have a whole background on chakras, and I would treat each chakra. I mean, I'm treating the whole person, obviously,
right.
But we can target, for example, if someone comes in and is having communication problems, or they're having trouble standing up to themselves or standing up to their boss, or they need to have conversation and they just have a hard time speaking up. That would kind of just be, for me, say, okay, that's throat chakra.
Totally.
So we're going to, work on the throat chakra. And so we'll get a stone, and there are many, that's the other part. There are many stones and many crystals. So there's not just one stone or one crystal that would work on that chakra. And so, I have a lot of resources that I like and a lot of books that I like that are simple to use, where you literally go, okay, I have this. What's a great stone or crystal? So that is the way, that's the way I work with in an energy session. I also will have people that, that in my coaching session, that they might, what I call is use a touchstone or a touch crystal. And what a touchstone or a touch crystal is literally something that you hold or touch, and it brings you comfort and it reduces anxiety or maybe worry. It's sort of like those old worry stones.
I love those.
Yeah, it's called a touchstone, and it goes way back many centuries. It's not new. And we'll kind of decipher like what feels good. So I'll use an example of rose quartz. Rose quartz is very easy to find. It's inexpensive. You can find it in a stone form, or you can find it in a light pink crystal-y form. And there's many, and we can have a whole episode on formation, but for the most part, that's it. And rose quartz is about love, compassion, support, right? It's self-confidence and it's self-beauty. That's a few of them. There's more. And so that light pink, if you're really struggling with maybe self-worth or maybe self-image, a lot of women struggle with, not good enough, like all of that stuff. I might say to them, try the touchstone, and let's work with the touchstone of rose quartz this week, and let me know how you feel. And then we do what I call a crystal journal or a gem journal. And I have them for that week. They might be writing down their impressions, how that crystal helped them in their day. And if it's a touchstone, people just sort of hold it in their hand. Women can put it in their, men can put it in their pocket or wallet. They can also
bras.
Yeah, bras. A lot of people do bras. A lot of people will do pocketbook.
Yeah.
But some people keep it in their cars. You kind of place them in different. But the touchstone is nice because you can pick it up and you can hold it, and it gives you that confidence. And especially for rose quartz, it's soft enough, but it's loving enough for that self-love and self-beauty. So that's an example. That's just an example of that.
Yeah, perfect. And I just have to once again say, what I love about you and your awesome Capricorn energy is that you are really speaking to both the breadth and the depth of it, the practicality of it. So when I have this, if I have this thing that I'm trying to work on and cultivate on self-worth, and so, my Reiki practitioner, energy healer coach says, hey, you might want to, use rose quartz for that. It'd be great. Place that near you. Keep a journal. You're priming the brain. You're giving them an opportunity to pay attention to this, to make it a priority. And then I love that you add in the journaling intervention as well of now throughout the day, I'm going to be paying attention to how am I feeling? How is this working? And it makes an awesome bi-directional feedback loop. And a lot of people are like, again, you're just giving into the power of persuasion, the placebo effect. Who the fuck cares if it is? It's like, like Monster spray for little kids. So even for the total people who are hella skeptical right now, how awesome, though, that if this thing works for you and helps keep you motivated and helps keep you focused on embracing yourself and taking care of yourself and encouraging and motivating yourself, great. And then I just see the loop coming all the way back around to further amplifying the effect between the crystal and the person to the crystal.
Yeah, I love that. And, going back to like the touchstone, I have a teacher who's really into crystals. Like I would say I'm into crystals.
Right.
She's really, right. Like there's like a varied level. And she calls crystals partners for transformation.
Oh, how cute.
Isn't that adorable?
Yeah.
So it's your partner, if any crystal, and I say crystal and stones interchangeably. So it's your partner for transformation. So even again, if we're going to say the placebo effect, you have your touchstone and it makes you feel better and you feel better about yourself or the worry, whatever you're using it for. Partner for transformation. I mean, that's awesome. I love that.
Right. It's a tool. It's a key. And so then it almost becomes impossible to dissect. Did it come from the crystal or did it come from you? Who cares?
Right.
It's a priming tool at the most scientific base. And on the woo side, I really love adding in the extra support. Like that really feels supportive to me to have this energy near me, really boosting me throughout my day or grounding me or comforting me, whatever it is that I'm working on.
Yeah. And again, that's it. There's crystals and stones that will lift you and keep you in a high vibration. There's other crystals and stones that want to ground you, right? So it depends on what are you feeling and what do you need? And that's where the intuition comes in, because when you can tap in and say, what do I need today? Like I'll use example of me today. Like today I felt extremely overwhelmed. I got back from a trip. I'm trying to, put everything into action. I had a few things happening. I have a lot of stuff going on personally. Sure. And for me, it's like, okay, what tool can help me? And I do my morning routine and rituals. I'm a very big journaler and meditation, but that's beyond that. And I will always gravitate to black obsidian. So black obsidian, I have
hoping that was going to come up.
Were you? Oh my God. I have it right here. And I know the listeners can't see it, but I love snowflake obsidian or just black obsidian. And black obsidian is, I have it in a stone form. And it really grounds me and it pulls away all the crap. I think I could say crap on your show.
You can say crap. You can say shit.
All of it.
Marked explicit.
Pulls it away from the body. And it just feels good. And I will use it like today. I literally use it as a touchstone. I don't always use it as a touchstone. I might have it like different places in my home or things like that. But today I was like, I need this. And that's exactly what I was talking about. I needed to be more grounded. I felt overwhelmed. I felt spacey. It's part of the new moon. I'm very affected by the moon. So I know what's kind of going on with me. And I needed that grounded nature. The new moon is the dark of the moon, right? So you don't see the moon. Even though you can put your crystals out and you can get charged by that, you're not actually seeing it like the full moon. And the new moon, well, we also have this eclipse, but the new moon is about creativity and, creating something new.
Right.
So here we are on these cycles where we get to let something go on the full moon and take something in the new moon, but it still creates these flurries of overwhelm or miscommunication or, things not going right, like your day just going off, off set. And so for me, that's how for me personally, I use them that way. Like I will say and it's not always, sometimes I don't think about it as enough as I should, right? It's like sometimes, like today I was like, I need something today. I really feel overwhelmed. I'm like, where's that obsidian? Where's my obsidian? And I just felt so much better. And I use it as a touchstone. I think that whole feeling of touchstone for me is so palpable because I can hold it and I can put it in my pocket and I can just reach for it and say, oh, there it is. It's like a trusted friend,
Yeah, they're my fave. We can add them into other rituals like energy healing it as well. But I love having them near me and in my pockets and the touchstone aspect of it, which brings me to an interesting piece. So I think it's funny or fascinating or ironic, all of the above, that you and I both love black obsidian, and yet that is one of the most taboo stones. So I think we're probably coming around to this aspect of personality and preference.
Right.
And I think it's important that the listeners give themselves permission to try things out or not. One of my favorite stories of black obsidian is with a colleague who actually got it with like a yoni egg.
Oh, okay.
And a hell of a lot of clearing, let's just say, took place, a lot of intense feeling. And so for some people, it tends to really screw with them because obsidian's also known for really clearing out. I love it. But then again, I'm a Gemini and I love, like you, like the grounded feeling of it. I also, like I mentioned before, I'm a fiery Pitta. So to me, obsidian is calming and comforting and very like stable, sturdy. But there's a whole host of my tribe and followers that talk about it as being the stirring the ship pot. So.
That's very true. You know what? I'm glad you brought that up. And that is a really good point. Not only do stones, so it's about the person and how you and I can say, hey, I feel good and obsidian makes me feel better. Other people get like, well, like, oh my God.
Yes.
There's another stone, if you're bringing it to mind, so there must be a reason I have to share this, but malachite. So
yes,
green malachite. So this is interesting. So I have this piece of malachite and it's a pretty large piece. I got it in India. So that alone is like highly charged with energy. I got it in 2012. But malachite is another heart chakra stone, very, very different than rose quartz. And this is what a lot of people don't know. Malachite's very attractive. It's dark green. If you guys are looking up anything and, to look it up, it's malachite. It's called malachite. It's dark green and it's very attractive. And they usually have like lines running through it, almost like a cat's eye sometimes. However, there is a contraindication to malachite because as rose quartz is soft and sweet and light pink and heart chakra, so if you have a heartache or a self-confidence or heartbreak, it's great. Malachite is an intense heart stone. And there are people that cannot wear malachite for very long. It literally can cause like palpitations or uncomfortability. Now, so you have to know, like some people, you just have to say, oh, this isn't feeling so good. Or maybe you have to watch, wearing it not an extensive period of time. Where something like a rose quartz, you could probably wear it around as a necklace and it probably won't bother you. So that's exactly it. Like for me, malachite, I wear it. I have a piece of jewelry, never bothers me. I have clients that will not wear malachite. It can actually cause palpitations, anxiety. Yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed that with when I get mala beads or rosary of certain stones, you definitely feel very different with ones or the, certain ones and not the others.
Yeah.
So once again, we're back to giving people permission to pay attention to their intuition. Like, do not go out there and go, well, so-and-so said this is amazing for me, but I'm hating it. But I'm just going to keep trying. I'm going to keep pushing through, which is what happened to my friend with the obsidian.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, lots of clearing. No, she's got to balance it with the rose quartz. So
nice.
Funny. Whereas I could wear obsidian all day, every day. And I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
It just depends.
It does.
So what are some of your favorite books you mentioned, your resources for people wanting to get started who have no idea?
One of my favorite ones, simple, easy, is Crystal Bible. Crystal Bible 1, 2, and 3. I think there's 3 volumes. It is so great. You can find it anywhere, I'm sure. And they have lovely pictures, which I love.
Very helpful.
So very, very helpful. So they'll show a picture of the stone or crystal. They'll go through maybe 2 or 3 pages of the benefits, the contraindications. Also, we'll tell you about where it's from, which I like. And great book, just great little book. Again, I think there's definitely Crystal Bible 1 and Crystal Bible 2. There might even be Crystal Bible 3 because they're always finding more stones and crystals.
Sure.
Another one I think it's out of print. And you know what? I have it nearby. Hold on. It's a really funky kind of book, little woohoo. Love is in the Earth.
Ooh.
A kaleidoscope of crystals. And it was, Love is in the Earth, a kaleidoscope of crystals. And it goes back to the 70s. And the woman who wrote it, her name was Melody. And it's really, really woohoo, guys. So this one, it talks a lot about, it'll talk about like angels and what each angel is connected to a crystal. It'll talk about astrological signs. I mean, it really goes deep, but it's a thick book. It's a purple book with really pretty pictures on it. I think it may be out of the print. And those are really the 2, that I use. I love Crystal Bible. I mean, now everything's Googleable, so I guess you could go on Google, but
I like having the resource right there.
Yeah, and the Crystal Bible is really cool. It's just a great book.
So I want to take it up one notch for those who are already extremely familiar with crystals. Any advice for intermediate or advanced practitioners, something that maybe has added to your own practice or journey that jumps out at you?
For personal use or for like to help others or both?
Either, whatever comes to mind.
See, I think what's really helped me or what I go into is really, again, using my intuition of what feels best always. And then there is this essence of taking care of crystals. I don't know how to say it. Like people will call it crystal beings, but I really work very hard to notice when the energy feels difficult, when they need to be charged, when they need to be cleared, how I'm feeling in my home. I have crystals all around my home. I have them in different places in my home and in the bedrooms, my kids' bedrooms. And, they're not just dust collectors. So I really find them as, again, we go back to this life force energy. And so that has become really part of routine. It's become part of self-care for me and my home and my family. And I try to share that with anybody, even if you're a pretty highly practitioner. We kind of forget, we may forget that they're in our office space or they're in our session room.
You're so right.
To really clear, I use a lot of the Reiki symbols, right? So as Reiki master teacher, and I teach all my students that go through Reiki, clear your crystals, clear them on a regular basis. Yeah. When the moon comes, clear them on a regular basis. I don't like to clear my crystals with salt. Not every crystal should go into salt. So, you could just do running water or incense works great. Sage works great. Palo Santo. There's a lot of clearing.
Right.
But, again, and to charge them in the moon, charge them in the sun, charge them with your intention. I think we go back to that adage that says energy follows intention. Intention follows energy. So if you're picking up a stone or you feel called to a stone, that's the other thing. I have this amazing woman in my town. You walk into her store, and I just love her energy, and of course love her store. And the first time I met her years ago, I went in and I said, I want to find such and such. Someone told me about this. She goes, really? I'm not going to say where that stone is. I want you to just go around the store and just, where are you attracted to?
Whoa.
And she really helped me with, someone's telling me I need this stone. How do I know that? I want you to feel. And to this day, now we're going many years from now, this day I go in there and I try not to go in with a preconceived notion, right? I might go in and say, I know I need grounding, or I know I need this, but I don't want to go in and say, I need this stone because so-and-so told me. And her name is Pascal. I love her to death. And she literally, it's like a little mystery. And I go, this stone, she's like, oh, very interesting. You picked that stone. And I'm going to tell you why. So
everybody needs a Pascal in their life.
Everybody needs a Pascal. She's amazing. Yeah. But it's that adventure. It's that exploration. It's that intuition. How does it feel? And, she'll literally say, okay, close your eyes, put it in your hand. How's it feel? And I'll go, oh, yeah. Okay. That's it. I get it. Okay. This is what I need, and that's really it. I mean, I know it's not like this.
No, that's so helpful. It is. And you know what I love most about that, hearing that story, is that she's really mirroring you and what you have brought to this planet and your sole purpose.
Yeah, right?
And we just need that sometimes. Another, sacred space holder to come alongside us and go, oh, girlfriend, you got this. Let's follow. Did you forget? You can follow your own intuition.
Well, I love that because you keep talking about permission, and I love that because it's so true. It's this kind of stuff isn't always so black and white. And can be very challenging for people that want the black and white answer.
Yep.
I'm having this right now. I'm halfway through my intuitive group coaching course, and we're working with oracle cards, which is another tool.
Love it.
And we had an exercise over the week, and she was like, I don't understand. And I'm like, no, how do you feel? And, but I have to understand as teacher that everybody processes things differently. So it was so great that I'm learning, and, it was like she pulled the card upside down. So it was like, oh my God, the card's upside down. But the point is that that's real, and that's what people are feeling. And so it's really hard to go into that right brain and not that logic brain and say, okay, it's okay if you pull it this way. It's okay if you fan it this way. It's okay if you shuffle it tomorrow. But it takes time to get there because not everybody is there. And it's okay to just get there when you get there.
Yes. Lead with the feeling, and then the knowledge, the analyzing comes later. It's kind of like doing, shamanic painting or something that you do a layer and then you come back and you look at it and you try to, see what you can see. And then you may tweak it a little bit and add to it. Then you come back, a couple days later and you do it again. Same thing with like journaling, or I love my oracle cards, but you have to go with your intuition first and then allow spirit in your brain, your psyche, to fill in the blanks later. But you're right, that is so hard we always want to rush right into, give me the steps, give me the... Right.
I know.
Make things so much easier. But no, we'd miss out on the growth. So that was perfect. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Where can people come hang out with you? Because you just have the best vibe. And I love the way you offer things. So I know people are going to want to.
Oh, thank you. I hang out a lot on Facebook. I'm a big Facebook girl. Facebook, you can find me, the Intuitive Women Facebook page. And I have the Intuitive Women Facebook group. Now, the group is invite only. And so we have majority of women. I think there's maybe 2 men, but the Intuitive Women Facebook group. And we just have a lot of fun in there, a lot of spiritual conversation, a very safe place. And on Fridays, I do a fun, what I call Live at 5. So every Friday at 5 o'clock Eastern, I pull oracle cards and I do readings. And sometimes, like tomorrow, that won't happen because I have something. But for the most part, it happens every Friday. And Instagram. So Instagram's my jam. I love that too. And again, it's The Intuitive Woman at Instagram. And those are really the 2 places I hang out.
You can find my podcast.
Oh, my podcast. Oh my gosh. The Intuitive Woman podcast. I know. It's like you forget because you're doing it all. Yes, the Intuitive Women podcast. And I love my podcast. And I love talking to podcasters like you. I do solo shows that could be 15, 17 minutes and meditations and teaching shows. And then I have interview shows as well.
Of course you do, because you're a balance.
I'm a smorgasbord.
My favorite people tend to be that way. Thank you so much, Tina, for your time tonight. It was such an honor.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for having me, Tamara. It's been so much fun. We have to do this again.
Definitely. Thanks for listening to the Sacred Psychology Podcast. I pray you found some inspiration and empowerment to go out and make this life the most fulfilling possible. You can follow Sacred Psychology on Facebook and YouTube. If you haven't yet, please go to Apple Podcasts and subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. Tag us on social media and let us know what you think as well. Please note the information provided is not meant to convey professional, psychological, or medical advice. If you could use such services, I highly recommend seeking them out from someone you trust. To get in touch with me personally or to see how we might work together, please check out ariatherapy.com or talesfromatrapezoid.com. Until next time, everyone.